So now I want to talk about what is called local and can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, global variables. Now, when you say something is local, it means it is within a certain region, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
For example, Nigeria. Let me try and draw the map. Don't laugh at me. I'm I'm
Hmm?
not I'm not good in drawing the map of Nigeria, but I'll try. Hmm? So we have the whole world. We have the whole world. When we say local, that means that it is within the boundary of this country called Nigeria, local to this country. But when we say global, so that means that it is everywhere in the world. It's not just applicable to Nigeria.
Okay.
So global variables are variables that is accessible within the entire program. But local is a variable that is only within a block of code. Any, any variable used within this block of code is local to this block. So if I declare a variable here, right, maybe variable x equal 10, this variable will not be available outside this block. It will not be available outside it. It's only available within this block. So if, for example, I create maybe an if statement given a condition and I say, okay, if this is this, then let's number be 2 times 3. Then I close this block and I say maybe else let's um,
Number
ratio
issue. Okay.
be 2 divided by 3, right? And I now try to say console dot log here
The slow.
num. Okay, hold on. Console.log num and ratio. Now, if I try to do this num and ratio will give me undefined. Anytime you see undefined, it simply means that that variable is not defined within this context. And this context is the global. Why is it global? Because it is not within this block of codes. But if I do the same thing here, console.log num, then it should be available here. So this will give me 6. If I say console.log ratio, then this will give me 0.66666 to 7. So this is a local variable This is also a local variable. However, if I declare a variable here, sorry, if I declare a variable, say sum equal 0, and here, and I say that assign sum here. Now, because I have already declared the variable here, I do not need to declare again, right? Because it's now a global variable. So I can now also assign this one to the variable sum, right? Or I should
Yes.
have used the results instead of sum. So now I can now print just sum here. I can print sum here, right here, because this is now a global variable. Any question?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's quickly go to the board to do some practice. Let me see. Do I need this one? No, I don't need this one. Just delete. So now, let's say I have a variable, let's sum. I assign 0 there, and I now do if sum
It's
is
equal
equal to 0,
to
then do 2 times 3. Else do 2 divide by 3. So I can now do console the log sum. So because sum is equal to 0 here, I will have 6. If I run, you can see 6 there. Now you can see that I am able to access or call the variable sum outside this block of code, because it is a global variable. But let us assume that I did not declare this variable here, right?
yes, sir.
Or let me say leave that. Now, and I declare another variable, say variable multiply, then this one I declare another variable, say div.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, if I try to access these two variable, multiply and div, outside there, let's see what's going to give us. You can uncut after, okay, let me see, maybe it's expecting a comma there. Now you can see undefined. Why? Because these two variables, multiply and div, they are local. They are local to this block, it only exists within this block, and this one, so div only exists within this block, right? So you cannot access these two variables outside the blocks, right? But if I do console.log here, multiply, and I do console.log here, div, you will see that I can now access the variable 6. Why? Because sum is 0. So this will be executed. But if I make this one 1, since sum is not equal to 0, this will not be executed. If I run it, you will see 0.66666. Is there any question?
No, sir.
Okay. So that is all about local variables and global variables. Local variables only exist within the block of code, this block. You cannot access that variable outside this block. That makes it local. But since this is not within any block of code, it is global. This one is global. These two are local variables. So, and you are going to, I will say, discuss on these local variables, because that is what makes what differentiates the var, the left, and the consts. So the local variable and the global variable differentiates these keywords that we use um, to create variables, or to define variables, or to define, right? So that is that about local and global variable. So I will go I will go next into strings. Strings. We have been talking about strings for some time now. Hold on first. Let me clear this. We have been talking about strings before now. Let me clear this screen. Strings. What are strings? Anytime we write data in double quotes, whatever is in between this double quote, we call it string. And string is a collections or just collection of characters. Characters. For example, M is a character. A is a character. R is a character. Y is another character. By the time we group everything together, we have Mary. So this is a string. These are characters. So string is now the collection of these 4 characters. Similarly, Sean, John, even Ademola is a string. And if you want to present this data, we use double quote. We can also use a single quote, like so. But why do we prefer double quotes? We prefer double quotes because in case you want to use possessive noun, for example, Mary's pen. This is a possessive noun here. In case you want to use this, if you use a single quote right here, there will be an error because the interpreter will think that the string ends here, and it will not be confused about this other one. That what is this? Since there is no beginning of another quote here, it will be confused. So to avoid such confusion, we now use double quotes, right? Then we can now leave the apostrophe there. Let us quickly demonstrate that. Let's go back to the board. Let's say I have a variable. I say var name, and I try to say Mary. There will not be a problem here. Let's say first name. And I create another variable. I say last name. Last name is George. Now you can see that here I use double quotes, and here I use a single quote. I can print those the log, those two variables. You can see Mary George. Why? Because there is no issue. This is recognized as a string, just as double quotes is also recognized as a string. But let's do something. Let's say I want to write simple sentence. And I say I'm using single quotes here. Single quotes. And I say Mary's pen. And if I try to print this sentence, enter, you can see the syntax error. Unexpected identifier. Doesn't understand what this is. But you can see that Mary is in kind of a shade of red here. which the the interpreter understood, but this other one is not understood by the interpreter. So and that is the reason why we use double quotes, so that to avoid such error. If I now run, you can see Mary's pen here. Is there any question?
No, sir.
Good. Now, I want, before I move on to the properties, because a string is an object. An object. We are still going to talk about objects later. String is an object. And if you can recollect, I explained a little about objects in two of our past classes. That's when I was trying to say this is how you define or you declare an object. You use the curly brace. It is an object. Sentence is string is an object. An object has what we call the properties and methods. Properties are like, let's say, this car. The property of this car can be blue, four tires. What other property can the car has? Okay, yes, two wipers. It has four doors. Those are properties. Properties are those things that you can use to describe an object. But what are methods? Methods are functions, what the car can do. The car can speed to a level of what, 240 kilometers per hour. The car can brake. The car can move. The car can turn, and so on and so forth. So methods are what? Behaviors. Behaviors. Why properties are like, let me use the word descriptions. Description. So every object has these properties and methods. Therefore, before we go into the properties of string, I need to explain to you that string is all kind of exhibits some characteristics of an array. Remember, when we talked about array, I said if I declare an array with a square bracket, and I say this is M, this is A, this is 1, 2. The position of each of these data is called the index position, and it always starts at what? Value of 0. So this is index position of 0, index position of 1, index position of 2, and index position of 3, which simply means if I want to call out this value here, I will say array index as 0. So this will return me M there. Similarly, if I have a string, say first name, and I say Tola, now I can retrieve this value here at position 0 by doing index of 0, and this will give me value of T. Similarly, this is value of index 1, index 2, index 3. So because a string is a collection of characters, you can break each of you can break the string into their corresponding characters. Now, because of this property, just like array has the property of length to determine how many data or characters in that array. In this case, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. The length of this array is 4 to give me 4. Similarly, the length of this string will give me 4. Because this is 1, 2, 3, and 4 characters. If I go back to the browser to demonstrate, let's say I want to, let me clear this screen here. I want to bring out the value at position 2. If you count, this is 0, 1, and 2. And that is why you have R printed out on the console. Similarly, if I say sentence dot length is going to give me the total length of this string, which is 10. If you count, you will see this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This space 7, 8, 9, and 10. So whatever is in between these double quotes is counted. Even if I do double spacing here or triple spacing and I run the code, you will see it has increased because of the 2 extra spaces I added. So whatever is in between this quote will be counted. Let me take it back. 1, 2. So if I run it again, that should give me back my 10. Is there any question? Is there any question?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
All right. Now, before I go into okay, don't let me go into that one now. I will come back to template strings later. Now, what if I want to use single quotes here? Maybe I just like to use single quotes. And I said initially that this will give a problem. Yes. There's something we call the escape sequence. Escape sequence. What that does is this. It is a backslash. If my memory does not fail me, What this does is that whatever is typed next to this backslash will be escaped, will not be considered as part of the syntax of the program. For example, let's say I do a backslash here, you will see that now I can print the total string without any issue. Unlike before, if I remove it, there will be an error. But for me to get out of that error, I can use the escape sequence and I will print my string. Any question on that?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So we have so many escape sequence which I can't I do not put into my memory, but I can easily go online, type escape sequence in we have it in all programs anyway. So since we are talking about JavaScript, I put JavaScript. So you can see, yes, this one now, I remember this one. This one is new line. This one is return carriage. This one is tab. So to give tab. I can't remember this one. Maybe it's form feed. I cannot remember that now because I don't use that always. But let's see this /n. You will see that if I do slash if I do /n here and I do an pencil there, let's see. You can see it breaks this into a new line, and that is what this is doing. So that is escape sequence. You can read more about it online. We have lots of them, which I cannot be going through here. The purpose is just to explain what it is in the class. So you can go online and find more of what the escape sequence. Now, there is this thing called template string. Template string. If you look on your keyboard, I don't know whether we are using the same keyboard form. Underneath the escape key, you will see this tilde sign. This sign, they call it tilde, and one sign. We call this backtick. We call this backtick. Now, template string uses this backtick. If I want to type to use my apostrophe without any issue, right? I can easily put everything into a backtick. So I'm going to use a backtick here, and I will close it with a backtick there. And if I run my code, let me clear the screen. Run the code, you will see Mary's pen and pencil because of the backtick. And even there's something more I can do with this. Let's say I have a variable here and I say his first name and I put Mary there, so I can replace, um, I can use what is called, what's that thing called? I've forgotten what it's called. Um, I've forgotten the jargon, but I can use my variable within this backtick by using the the dollar symbol and the curly brace. Then I post the variable name there, right? So if I run this code, you will see exactly the same. Mary pen. Okay, let me even try whether apostrophe S will work there. Let's see. Let me see. Yes. So the backtick gives you exactly what you are typing inside the those two backticks, and at the same time, it also affords you the opportunity to use your variable as if you are typing a string. But if you want to indicate insert your variable, you use the dollar sign and the variable inside a two curly braces. Is there any question? Is there any question?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, let's quickly talk about few of the methods of a string. Please and please don't say we are not too practical, as in we are not using the web browser to work with. We are still going to use it. Just note that this is important, is a building block for you. By the time we go into the browser now, to now start implementing JavaScript within the browser, you will not find it very difficult. Right. Very soon we will start entering into the web with with JavaScript. So now let's say I have, let me remove the var there. I have okay, let me say string. Let me just type um okay. Okay. Now, let's say I want to slice slice to slice part of this string. I want to slice. Slice means just like you are slicing your bread. I want to cut part of it out, right? So you can do that using the slice method or the substring. Yes, the substring method, or just the substring string. The short form of this. I do not know why in JavaScript you can do one thing with different methods. I do not know why. I guess many programmers, developers, they build their own methods and then um, insert it into the JavaScript library. Now, this slice substring and this substring also, they do exactly the same thing, but in different ways. But they have something in common. Slice, okay, let me clear this one and go to the other board. Slice is a method, a function. And remember that anytime you want to call a function, this is how you call a function. The same thing with substring is a method. Remember that I said method is a function that belongs to an object. Same thing with this other substring. Now, one thing is common to these three methods. The slice has the starting position called the start, then the end. Similarly, the substring has the starting position and also the end. However, the substring has a start position, but this time around, the length of the string you want to cut out. For example, let's say I have Ademola as my string, and I say this is first name, for example, first name. If I want to cut out Ade, I only want, okay, I only want Ola. I only want to see Ola. You know, this is position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my starting position is 4. So I will say slice, start at 4, then end at where? End at 4, 5, 6, 7. Because the last number is not included. See, it is assumed that the seventh character is here and you are slicing here, right? Just like you are slicing bread. So I will indicate 4, which is the starting position, then 7. Why am I saying 7? Because it's not going to include that position, and that position is not even among our index. So it's going to stop at 6. So this will return me OLA. Similarly, the substring, the starting position will be 4, then N is 7. Now, the difference with this substring is the starting position is 4, but you now count the length from the starting point. How many characters do I want to include? I want to include 1, 2, and 3. So here I have my 3 there. Let us quickly demonstrate that. Let's quickly demonstrate that on the browser. Let me change this to Ademola since I've used that in the explanation board. So I now want to just print out part of this sentence dot slice, and I'm going to do 4 and 7. You can see OLA printed out. So what is happening? This is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's your starting position. So 7 is right after A. So it will not include 7. So 4, 5, 6. So I have my OLA printed out. Now the same thing is applicable if I do substring. You can see I still have OLA, Ola. If I do the substring and I count the length 1, 2, 3, starting from 4. If I run it, I will see have my OLA. If I want a day, so A is from O, is starting at O, index 0, then I will count what? 3 characters. So I will do 0, then 3 characters. I have ADE there. Is there any question?
Can we practice this with Ola?
Can we do what?
Can we practice this with Ola instead of Ade?
Practice with Ola as in to bring out Ola.
Yes, sir.
I've done Ola here now. See, OLA. Or you were not listening? Okay, let me go over it again. What
With the method.
with this method, subtree?
Yeah.
Yes, now I've done it before. Starting position is where 4. O is where index 4, right? This is index 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to write 4 here. Then how many characters do I want to bring out? 3. 1, 2, 3. So what I'm going to do is just change this to 4. If I run it, this Ola. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any other question?
No.
Okay. Now, what happens if I leave out this second character? I have Ola. Let's say I'm starting at position 2. I have Emola. So which means that it will start at position 2, 0, 1, 2, which is E. Then it will now give me the everything after that. Let me just repeat. Notice is position 0, position 1, index 2. So it will start from E, but because I did not state any length, it will just return everything back to me. I hope it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Hello? Okay, good. Now, what about slice? Let's see what slice also does there. If I do not give it the second argument, slice, what is it going to return me? You can see it's exactly the same. It will pick it from where I'll return me every other thing. The same thing, sub string. You can see. Now, can we have negative value? Let's see. If I do -2, what will it give me? Ademola. That's for substring. Let's see slice. La. Let's see substring. The same thing. La. So what's going on here? The substring does not know what negative value is. We have Ademola and the starting position is 0. The substring will not recognize any negative number because substring will think that you are going the negative direction. That is the way substring thinks. And the moment it gets here, it will try to come here, right? Start from here. And because we did not give it the second argument, it will return everything from here down here. And since there's nothing here, it will just return the name Ademola. Let's see. Let's try something. Let's say I have substring and I say say 6 of, okay, let's say 5. Let's run it. You can see Ademo, Ademo. So I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Okay. Let me just write it out so that for clarity. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, this 5 is not inclusive, so it will slice it here. And that is why it's returning this. It does not recognize anything negative. It will probably it will start from here, but since there's nothing here, it will return everything except the 5th character there. It's 5th position, not character. However, that is not the case when we are dealing with slice. Slice takes it from behind, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. And that is why when I said -2, it came here, -2, and returned me every other thing, LA, right here. Let's run it again. Just for clarity's sake, slice, -2. You can see I have La. I hope it is clear. I hope it is
Yes,
clear.
sir.
Okay. Demola, do you have question?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. So now, The same thing with the substrate. The same principle applies. So like I always say, you have the MDN. You can go and read more about string. Although I will still cover some important what's it called methods, which I am going to now. The uppercase. Uppercase. If you want to turn a character to the capital letter, you use the to uppercase method. If you want to turn any character to a lowercase, you use the to lowercase method, right? These are one of the methods that you will use most often when you are dealing with strings, and I will explain why in very short in a short while. So now let's say I want to turn this sentence, this string, to all capital letter. All I need to do is to do to upper case, and since it's a function, I will put that bracket operator before it. If I run my code, you will see Ademola in capital letters. Same thing. If I want it to be in lower case, all I need to do is just use the lower case, and everything will be in lower case. Is there any question? Is there any question?
No, sir.
No. Okay, now let's do something practical with the little that we have learned. Let's say you want your user to input their first name, and you know users can type gibberish nonsense in your app. For example, somebody with name of Bush. You know, a name is a proper noun. A name must start with a capital letter. A name should not start with small letters. But users can be funny. Some user can type something like this into your app. It is your responsibility to take it back to this form, to this proper noun format. So how do you do it? Let me clear the screen. If I say prompt, I say enter, or please enter your first name, and I will capture that input into this variable first name. If I run this code, this will give this prompt for the user to enter the first name will be there, right? So that is that. So, and it's captured into this F name. Now, since I know that the very first character in any name must be capital letter, I need to do something to break out this first character into some variable and the rest into another variable. So is there anyone in the class who can tell me how we can achieve that? Is there anyone? Okay, no one. All right, listen carefully. Since the user is going to input his or her name, which I must have captured into this variable as string, right? I will now try to slice out the first character by saying fname dot slice. All I need is the first character, so which is position 0, right? And I don't want any other one, so I will say stop at 1. Now, once you slice this out, save it inside this variable for me. Character 1, right? Char, not char 1. So let me see whether I'm able to capture that. Let me just do alert. No, let me do console. I want to see it on the console. Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
Good. So now let me see if I'm able to capture this very first character. Let me run the code. So let's say I'm writing Ademola here. So if I say OK, now you can see A is printed out. So that means that I am able to capture the very first letter, A. So now, but I need to capture the rest also. Why do I need to capture the rest? Because I must make sure that the user is not typing something like this. This is gibberish, right? Because the output I want must be a proper noun, which must always be in this form. This is capital letter, and the rest must be lowercase. Uppercase, lowercase. So I must also capture the rest of this string. And the question is, how do I do that? I know I need to start at what? Index 1. But how do I determine the length that I need? There are two ways. I can just say slice 1, then once I get 1, then it will give me the rest. Or I use the length property of string to get the rest character out. But I'm going to use just the slice 1, then without the second argument, the second parameter there. Let me clear the screen. So what I will do now is I'm going to create another variable that will hold the rest of the character. I will say char rest, the rest characters. Fname dot slice. Then I will start at 1. I will not indicate the next argument there, because I do not need, I only need from one, then the rest. Let me be sure that I am capturing the rest character. So I'm going to print it out. Okay, okay, let me print this one out first. Okay, okay, I've done this one before, so I'm rest assured that I'm capturing that. So let's capture the rest and see whether we are able to capture it. So let's run it. Let's say I have Jet Lee there, and I say okay. Now you can see I'm able to capture the S Lee. If I do U, because some Chinese name is U, if I do that, you can see I'm able to capture that single character. If I run another one and I say is a bush, now I'm able to capture the ush, or the ush rather. So now I'm able to capture the very first character and the rest of what? The character. So what is the next thing I'm to do? All I need to do is now to turn this one into capital letter, then the rest into the lowercase letters. So I can now do what's it called? Char one dot to uppercase, then concatenate it with a char rest to lowercase. If I run my code and I type maybe this form of Ademola, which I know is not the right way to write a name, because users can be so funny, and I click OK, you can see everything is now turned into the proper noun. Is there any question before we call it a day?
No, sir.
No question. Mary, is there any question? Mary, are you there? Mary has slept. Wonderful. Now, before I close for the day, I want to show you another way to concatenate characters or string. Now, you can see here that I'm using the plus operator here to concatenate these two strings together, right? But I can also use dot concat. If I do dot concat, then I will put this one into that method right there. Let me see. I hope yes. I think this covers that. Yes. If I run my code again and I do that and I click OK, you can see I have the same thing. So I think it is safe for us to end the class today at this level. We will continue on Tuesday. Let me pause the recording.